Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We're in our 24th year, almost 25th year, giving you great mortgage and real estate information. To my right, Harry Glanz.
Good morning, Harvey. Good morning, John. Good morning, Noel. We'll do proper introductions in a second, but today's a big day.
It's a big day, Harry.
Go green.
Go
it's
white.
going to happen, right, John? It's going to happen.
I'll take the other side.
Everybody out there, I know you're driving to Ann Arbor right now.
So we got two Sparties in here, and then we got two guys going for the maize and blue.
They're driving to Ann Arbor right now. They're going to party like crazy, and we're going to see what happens. I just want a good game. How about that? I'll take a good game, and I'll take a 1-point MSU win. How about that?
Yep. All my buddies on the golf course, they're going to be doing it right.
They're already out there, John?
They might be. Who knows?
Yeah, well, tailgating starts, it's 10.5 hours.
There you go.
Noel Heideman, Christie's International at Properties, the Birmingham office off the Old Woodward there, right? That's where you guys are at?
Yes.
How you doing, man? Welcome back to the show.
Doing great. Yeah, good to see you guys. Welcome, everybody.
We're going to do 1 hour mortgages and real estate. Noel, we'll catch up with what's going on in the local area, the regional area, of course, and we'll talk about real estate, mortgage rates, and anything else you want to talk about at 248-539-9797.
Well, John Kolb, fresh off the banks of the Red Cedar River. How many years ago, John? 28 now?
It'll be 28 years in March that I've been with Capital. But I got to give a quick shout out to my buddy Luke Valentine. What's up, buddy? Just wanted to make sure you're awake and listening.
There you go.
You told Luke you're coming on the air, talk mortgages and real estate. He's like, that's a sleeper.
Yeah, he's prepping for his fantasy football team.
Well, since we put everybody to sleep already, let's wake him up. All right? Mortgage rates not coming down this second. Not. It hasn't. The Fed met September 17th, 18th, announced that they're going to drop the Fed funds rate. And except for maybe a day after, they've gone steadily up. Rates are in the sevens. There are certain things, and we talk about with 0 points and all that. But the bottom line is this: there's another meeting coming up in November and another meeting coming up in December. We'll see what happens. It's really...
But, Harry, they lowered the rates in September.
Right.
How could they be going up? Because the Fed talks out of both sides of their mouth. They lowered the rates, and then they talked about how they don't want to do more rate cuts. Now the whole system is convoluted, and everybody is unsure, so everybody's backing out, and the rates are going up.
But why do we have to get this out of the way first thing in the morning? We have to get it out of the way because people understand that a direct correlation of interest rates has to do with inflation. Okay, so mortgage interest rates have to do with inflation, and the Fed funds goes ahead and they temper inflation by doing nothing or raising rates. So when inflation's out of control, they raise the rate to curb the spending, and then when inflation goes down, they lower the rate to go ahead and spur spending. So there's an inverse relationship, really. So what I'd like to tell everybody out there is, listen, it's still a great time, Noel, to buy a house. Property values are still very strong. It's still a seller's market, right?
And some would be asking, too, does this have a lot to do with what's going on with the election? And after November 5th, will that change? Will people settle down? Will rates settle? Will a lot of things, we don't know that. Time will tell.
We'll go back to Gardner White commercials on
That's
TV
right.
versus all the political ads.
I've got a mailing situation thing that I'm going to be dealing with that
Give
I'm
Rachel
going to be
a little
addressing that because it's interesting how much you get.
Great conversation with a bunch of guys last night. We were at a dinner, and we talk about the election, who's in office, and I don't care what political side you're on. The Fed already announced what they're going to do. They said that in November they're going to have a meeting, in December, all through 2025. They think that they want to lower the rates. So it's all been set. And anybody out there that thinks that the pressure is put on by that office, listen, presidents take too much credit when things go well, and they take the hit when things go bad. And whether it's not rightly so in this case. And, it's not a political, allegedly, office that the Federal Reserve Chairman holds. And they've already announced what they're going to do. I believe that rates in 2025 are going to come down slowly. Now, 12 months from now, when we'll do my John will do my famous Harry hedge. Okay, rates will be lower at this time next year than they are right now. Are you taking that bet, John?
I'll take it because I'm going to lose the one from this year. Where all it had to do was hit 5.99 for 1 second in 2024. We got close. We got close to 6.25, 6.375. But then the Fed, and like you said, it's not a presidency thing because this president wouldn't know if rates were up or down right now, unfortunately. But the Fed right now is just constantly screwing things up. And you and I can agree on this, Harry, as he's shaking his head at my previous comment. Wow. You can agree that the Fed has screwed this up with how quickly they dropped interest rates.
Agree.
And their desire to be at a certain number for inflation.
There was a drastic overcorrection both ways.
Yes.
There was a drastic overcorrection during COVID, dropped them all the way down. Yeah. And there was a drastic overcorrection, raising them 11 times. So I agree with that. There's nothing wrong with what we're saying. But what we're saying also is that the general public right now needs to understand that when they see the Fed say, we're going to drop the rate, the residual effect is based on inflation. And we're going to see that. And I do believe, John, again, my bet to you again right now in front of everybody is that at this time, next year, rates will be lower than they are right now.
I'll take that one, too. I sure hope so, too.
Book it, Mortimer.
So you say they're going to be higher?
You guys are talking about Wednesday's news.
They're going to be lower,
rates.
no.
Yeah, they're going to be lower.
Mortgage
So you
rates
agree
jumped
with
to
me.
the highest level since July on Wednesday. So that's what we're really going. Underlying market movement wasn't readily attributed to any singular thing. Obviously, it's the bond market, mortgage-backed securities. We'd like to see interest rates sort of follow the bond market. That's easier for us to really follow then. But there's so many geopolitical events going on. We got an election going on.
But let's get back to this.
Yeah,
people are still buying houses. It's
yeah.
almost November. People are buying houses, right?
Yeah, there's still inventory. It's interesting though. I have seen, I just paying it the last couple months. I've seen a lot more price reductions actually than I've seen in the last 5 years. Going back and talking about what the Fed did way back in 2020 and dropping those interest rates, and it was going like gangbusters, and it hasn't really stopped too much. It's fluctuated here and there with different price brackets and whatnot, but I am noticing more and more houses that were obviously probably up too high that have done price reductions.
Yeah, they're sitting a little bit longer, so the sellers now is getting a little bit worried. Now, I went to a couple of these open houses, and it's I was talking with the agents, and he doesn't want to drop the price because the one around the block sold. Well, the one around the block was gorgeous, and his was a dump.
Yeah,
I mean, flat out. So, we'll go back and we'll talk about all of this stuff, the real estate agents, how they're going about these listings. Again, a client of mine was interested in a house this week in Southfield, and I was excited for him until I talked to the listing agent. And he really was honest and said, look, Harvey, those pictures look a lot better than this house is. It's probably not even going to come close to passing FHA. We'll go back and take a look to see if we can switch to a conventional loan. But really, there's some money pits out there, Harry. Everything's not, just because your neighbor sold, they might have had a finished walkout basement. They might have updated housing. They might have a new roof, new appliances. They might not have stink bugs, 5,000 stink bugs on the back of their house. I mean, it's not what your neighbor sold for. Go look at that house.
Isn't it all situational like baseball? I mean, you walk Mookie Betts to get to Freddie Freeman, then he hits a bomb. I mean, why would you do that? Just pitch to the guy. But they had the lefty-lefty matchup. It was situational. They thought they'd get away with it. They didn't last night. And when you're buying a house, everything's situational too, because it's not a one-size-all thing.
Right.
I mean, you go ahead and Noel takes people to a house, they still have to get a home inspection. It could look great, but the situation dictates that you better get a home inspection. In your situation, the house didn't look as good as it did in the pictures.
Yeah.
Well,
it's interesting.
That's
it's
the
interesting
AI
to see.
generation for you. I mean, I had a realtor tell me that the staging photos. I said, "Oh, you had the house professionally staged." She said, "No, the house is empty. The couch, the bed, everything. That's just computer generated. And they're not even staging houses anymore. It's crazy." But I want to go back to what Noel said real quick about dropping prices. We have a fantastic program called List and Lock.
Yes.
Where you can actually, the seller will pay for a lower interest rate. So instead of dropping the price, because if you drop the price by $10,000, it's only going to change the payment by $65 a month. But if someone wants to use $10,000 to buy down that interest rate, it could change the payment by a couple $100. So instead, that $400,000 house that you want to drop to $380,000, keep it at $400,000, use $15,000-$20,000 to buy down the interest rate, so that buyer then gets the benefit of getting a much lower than market interest rate. The seller can contribute up to 3%, and our company CMG will contribute another 1%. So 4% to go down to buy down that interest rate instead of dropping your price. It's a fantastic product. We've got a link that we can send to any realtor who is interested to watch a video. I sent it to Noel to watch this past week. I know he didn't because he's too smart for this.
I did. John, there's other advantages. That's a great program. List and lock. Call us at 1-800 low rate. Again, if you have a house on the market, you can still get top dollar for it. You sort of throw in some seller's concessions. You make it a win-win situation.
It's interesting because I just did a quick little just to check out my neighborhood, Square Mile area, say, and I think there was like 15 houses that I found. No, I looked active, pending, and sold. So you can go, say, the last 2 months, whatever it was. I think I have 8 that are currently active, okay? And of those 8, I believe 6 have price changes. There were 2 pending, and then the rest were sold. Now, the ones that were pending and then the ones that have sold did rather quickly. And I'm saying rather quickly within, like, say, 10 days, which is pretty quickly now.
Pretty quick.
Things aren't moving in seconds like they used to, but good properties are still moving. And I think, properties that are out there that are maybe a little bit more tired, need a little of this, little of that, really depends on the price range. I look at demographic and price range and who can afford what. And for example, like, if you're a first-time buyer, you probably don't have a lot of liquid cash. So you're looking for something that's a little more updated, a little more fixed up, and you're probably willing to pay a little bit more for that. And that's what we're seeing, in the market. It's interesting, though, that the amount of properties that are active, that are up there for a little bit longer than what you'd normally think based on the amount of buyers that we have in the market. But time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, it also could be a time of year issue. I mean, but what we're seeing is, anything that is good is going quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's still way more buyers out there that don't have properties that are looking, that are excited about buying home ownership. So many new first-time home buyer program, state of Michigan program. I mean, there are a lot of things that people can get in. They don't necessarily need, but they have to make a call. They don't necessarily need a lot of money to put down. And we see that, and we do that all the time, John.
Yeah, I mean, there's programs with as little as 3% down. Yeah. First-time home buyers, it's amazing. Conventional, you don't have to be limited in a box. You can make more than what the AMI allows. So reach out. We'll get you into the right program.
Already, 248-539-9797. It's mortgages and real estate for 1 hour. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
Oh, John, our listeners are out there listening. Mr. Psycho Guy who likes to always...
Oh, is this our guy?
Joining us. We got tons of sports here on 97.1. Of course, Michigan State football later this afternoon. There's a World Series going on here. Some real excitement.
Great baseball.
And Lions, Detroit Lions tomorrow. We got football here at 97.1.
Go tomorrow.
Oh, you are?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Go
Why not?
tomorrow. Go see the boys play. Let's go. Going to win. Going to beat
it.
the Titans. And go Lions. Are you kidding me? They're on fire. Fire.
Do the Titans even have a quarterback?
Right. Well, speaking of that, our old quarterback took down the Vikings on Thursday night.
There you go.
The Lions beat up the Vikings so bad that they're down. We're in hand now, right? We're on top of the division.
Yep.
Our win-loss record is going to be better than the Vikings. We're going to win tomorrow. We're going to be in the driver's seat. Our old quarterback beat the Vikings.
Yeah, we knew
After
that.
the Vikings beat them up.
The Viking-Lions game was a really good game.
Oh, yeah, it was a great game.
I mean, we didn't beat them. We may have physically. Yes, I agree.
We put a pounding on them physically.
Correct.
And then they had to play Thursday night.
Hey, Noel, this housing was chugging right along here in 2020. Then COVID happened. No doubt about that, right? Housing experienced lots of unexpected volatility. We're still experiencing it. Market didn't need to go down to 3% mortgage interest rates. Now it doesn't need to go to 7%. Somewhere in between there would have been real groovy.
Yes, it would have been. It's funny looking back at things. And being in the business since 1993, looking back and seeing what happened in 2020 and that drastic reduction in obviously interest rates and whatnot, it fueled a lot of great things. But in totality, it was probably something that wasn't very good for anything.
Well, again, it went down too quickly.
Went way too quickly.
But they were the beneficiary of low rates.
And what's funny, though, you guys, is that even recovering from that, knowing and you guys all know what the market was like before that, or more of what we call a normal market, I guess, if that's a lack of a better word. But it is different. And, seeing what has come from that and what has transpired in the market values and how much they've increased, that's one thing that people need to understand is that property values are continuing to increase. Those are not going down at all. And it has nothing to do with a limited amount of market. Really, it has, there's plenty of houses out there, too, that haven't sold yet. But we're seeing consistently market values continue to improve.
15 straight months of increases. No law. National average is 3%. Around here, it's probably closer to 5 or 6%, maybe 10% in your backyard. We'll take your calls at 248-539-9797. Let's move off to a caller this morning. We got Greg calling in about a VA loan. Good morning, Greg, and thanks for the call.
Hello. Good morning, guys.
What's happening?
Morning.
First-time home buyer here. I've been looking in the market, personally waiting for the interest rates to go down, and hopefully within that year they do. So I have the cash for 20% down conventional. My price range being between $200 and $220, but I'm also eligible for a VA loan.
Yes.
Now my question is what is the upside of a VA loan? What is the downside? Why are some houses listed as strictly conventional and not accepting VA loans?
Right.
Just kind of curious
Let's
about
go there.
that.
Yeah, let's go there. It's a great call, Greg. First of all, thanks for serving the country. Really appreciate that. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to let John Colbert do a lot of this talk, but for VA, you're a buyer right now. I would keep the 20%. You're a first-time home buyer. Keeping a lot of that money saved up, maybe to put some improvements into these houses. Noel and I we were all talking before the show. It's hard to find a house under $250 that's in really, really great shape. It just is. Home prices have gone up dramatically. And then, John, I'll leave them with this, and then I love the call, Greg. You could always do a VA streamline. So I do like the idea that you buy now before these prices continue to go up as a first-time home buyer, and keep that money in your pocket. John, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't wait too long, Greg, because the more that you wait, the more the houses are going to keep appreciating.
Yeah, you're losing equity.
You're losing equity, and your interest rate drop versus your equity gain is you're going to make money because you like Harvey said, you can always come back and refinance. Now, the benefit for a VA loan, right, if you're putting down less than 20%, is you don't have any PMI. All right. The downfall is that unless you have a certain percentage of disability, you're going to have to pay an upfront funding fee to VA, which can be up to 3% of the purchase price of the home.
2.15 right now.
Right. And so that is rolled into the mortgage, but you are mortgaging that. In addition, a lot of people don't want to take VA or FHA offers because they're just not as informed as they should be when it comes to the house. Every house is going to have an appraisal for the most part. Every house is going to have conditions if it isn't up to standards. So if you don't have a GFI outlet in a bathroom or a kitchen, that can be called. But it can also be called for conventional. It won't be called as often conventional, but it definitely will be called VA or FHA. So a lot of houses that you're seeing out there that are saying no VA, no FHA, it's because they might not be up to the standards.
Health and safety issues. Right.
So you might just want to look at that. And if that's something that you want to jump in on and try to get into a house at 225, 250 and then fix it up yourself, then you might want to do conventional, do 20% down. We might be able to do an appraisal waiver on that home. And then you can get into that home, fix it up on your own, and gain your own equity. It's it's very situational, and I'll let Noel jump in a little bit on that.
And Greg, I wanted to let you know too. Just because they're not offering FHA or VA, do not take that as that you cannot buy that house. Go and see it. Go look at it.
Yes.
And talk to guys like John and all these guys from Capital Mortgage Funding. They will. They'll walk you through how to do it and what to do in regard to that 20% down first time buyer. Yeah, hold on to that money. You may not have to do that, and you got to look at what the numbers look like versus putting that 20% down. What can you have that money do for you? If you don't need 20, you need 3. What is the difference? You're paying a PMI, so what is it? $100 a month? You can do those numbers and see how that money can work better.
Hey,
for
Greg,
you.
I can't imagine that if he went ahead and Greg, you go ahead and you put in an offer and you go see a house and that listing realtor says, no, I don't want to sell it to a vet.
Do they not like money?
Okay. So all money is green.
Yes.
And the bottom line is this. It's just because it says they won't. If you go there, you talk to somebody, you meet somebody, and somebody presents an offer for you, then they're going to tell you what the pitfalls of that house might be because they know you're going to go VA financing. So I wouldn't, no is in this case, no isn't the final answer.
Yeah, if you have a buyer agent's working for you too, that's your fiduciary. They should be making that phone call to that 1234 Brown Street. Are you offering a VA or
that's a condition of the house. I made the call yesterday. I'm going to salute. I'll tell you, Remax 2000. I'm going to salute these guys. I called Sam. He answers the phone and he says, Harvey, this house does not look like those pictures. And sure enough, it probably won't go FHA or something. So we could always take a client and maybe consider it to switch the style loan. But conventional loans go after health and safety issues. It's the same thing, guys.
They all have the same parameters.
Right.
Yes.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac changed. I'm going to throw it out there, all the appraisers. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac changed the guidelines, and they require health and safety issues to be addressed. Who wants to buy a dump?
Well,
who wants to buy something that's
those
in
are
really
things that we
bad
talk
shape?
about too when you're going through and you're looking at houses. What does VA and FHA look for? Trip hazards, hand railings, broken glass, things like that. You're paying attention to this stuff when you are going through and looking at houses. And my gosh, Harvey said it so perfectly. I can't tell you, and you people out there looking that are selling and buying, look at all the pictures, and when you go through the house, sometimes it's Jekyll and Hyde, totally different than what the pictures look like. So you've got to go and look at it and feel it and touch it and see what.
Do a sewer line inspection and all the necessary due diligence that's required.
But the number one thing that what we should all focus on is the communication amongst all parties: buyer's agent, listing agent, and the mortgage person, right? So that listing agent who Greg was talking about may not want to accept a VA offer, but like you guys are saying, go see the home, have the buyer's agent talk to him, and offer up Harvey's expertise. Hey, listing agent, why don't you give Harvey a call and see if this house might pass VA and what your concerns are versus what aren't. And those concerns may be valid or they may not, but at least the communication is happening and we can make things happen, because more often than not, I'm getting calls from listing agents saying, hey, what did you do to vet this buyer? And I love it.
Yeah.
Call me on a Saturday and Sunday.
That is the most important thing. Communication in life is the most important thing. But in business,
now we're getting
real
deep.
estate and anything is the most important thing. Talk to your agent, talk to your lender. Have your agent talk to the other agent. It's just super, super important to find out, because you don't know until you ask.
First-time home buyers, I really urge you to get hooked up with a great lender, and then the lender can guide you to all the great real estate agents out there. If you're willy-nilly, you're clicking buttons out there, you're going to deal and miss out on opportunities. Mm-hmm. If your agent doesn't have the experience and doesn't have the team support, it's a problem. And it continues to be a problem in 2024. It blows my mind. Harry knows I've talked about these things for over 30 years with him, and it still blows my mind. Again, made the phone call to a lady, said, the house needs a smoke detector. She goes, I've never heard of that in a conventional loan. I said, I haven't had it come up. I go, don't 99% of the homes.
Everybody has a smoke detector.
Right, and now
why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you want one? Why wouldn't you?
Don't they give them away for free, like Consumers Energy?
You guys, half of them probably don't even have 9-volt batteries in them. The house is vacant. Maybe someone's living there. It's beeping. I walked into a listing. I'm like, what's going on here?
Why wouldn't you want to know that it doesn't have the steps are in disrepair? The back patio, the porch, you could fall off the patio onto the deck and hurt yourself. The driveway needs repair. The ceiling's caving in. Why wouldn't you want to know all these things?
Forget about that stuff. You're talking sewer lines, mold. Let's go to the heavy duty stuff. Yeah. Foundation issues. There's water leaking in the basement.
If
it smells like mold.
Throwing a camera down that sewer line to figure it out, you're making a huge mistake. That's a $30,000 repair.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right, that music says we're up against our second break. It's getting a little heated in here. We want to hear from you. 248-539-9797. Making home ownership successful. Give us a call. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, again brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can find us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. When experience counts, call Capital Mortgage Funding. We are brought to you also by CMG Do I got that? CMG Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1820. I got it all here. I got it all here. I got it all figured out. Noel Heideman joins us from at Properties, the Christie's International office in Birmingham. No, you grew up in the area. So, again, primary focus, the Tri-County area. I know your backyard where you do the business. Got a weird ticket text here. We can comment on it real quickly. National average, 8 million articles that I've read. The statistics, the numbers that are out there.
All the sellers and buyers can
all the sellers that have sold and made a ton of money.
Forget the articles you've read. Just the transactions we deal with every single day.
I deal with it every day. And I only deal with it in Michigan and Florida. John, you've got a whole bunch of other states.
Harvey, let me state it. So
wait, let me say it.
If anybody gets in trouble, let me say it.
Yes.
I'll be the guy that gets in trouble.
Please.
Yes. Home values have gone up. Period.
Since when?
That's it.
Since the time?
Since I don't know.
Since last year, so 10 years ago.
So how about throughout time?
Yeah.
How about generationally? Your father bought his house less than you're buying your house for. Your grandfather paid less than your father did. So please don't tell me home prices aren't going up.
Gary, I cannot purchase any of the homes that I've ever purchased. I cannot buy it for what I bought them for today.
That's correct.
And the last one I bought was in 2012. So that one's worth another $200,000. Right. The first house I ever bought was worth more money.
In 2019, they could sell them for double and triple now.
If you look at just general averages of appreciation,
yes, sir.
You're looking at say 3 to 4% without even really batting an eye. And I did research and went back to 2019 when COVID really started hitting. What did we see? Like cruise ships like in October of 19, like having sick people. So it all kind of went down somewhere around then, right? And if you go back and if you look at what has happened, and I'm saying, say in the Tri-County area in southeastern Michigan, it's amazing the appreciation and what values did. I'm talking and I'm not talking any particular one area, but 11 to 13 to 14%
all day, baby,
every
all
year,
day long,
like one year after another. So you're adding, say, 110% or 113% to 100,000, and doing that again and again and again over that short period of time of those 4 years. That's what happened.
There's no question.
That is what happened. Now, I think that's accelerated way too quickly. However, our market has held that.
It is one of the greatest sources of personal wealth building in history.
Home ownership
in the United States, called home ownership. Okay, so John Kolb, for example, bought his house for X, and today he could sell it for Y. It's not going to sell for Y lower.
Right.
He's going to sell it for Y higher.
Right.
All right. So, and he would increase, if he wanted to get out, he would increase his wealth by that. Now, would he have to go ahead and buy another house? Yeah, but he's been in his house for so long. He's done so many improvements to it, and he's made it. Listen, like everybody else, you make your house what you want to make it.
That's the key.
And it improves the value. It increases the value, and when you sell it, you're going to get more than what you bought.
And you have to keep on increasing. You have to always put money into your home.
That's what I was just going to say.
It's a living, breathing organism.
At least 1% every year, they say on an average.
I may not get all the money I put into the house. Dan Burke and myself, right?
Those two guys,
Two guys, but the house still appreciated. Now, if that gentleman that texted us is talking about, well, you're not going to get all the money that I put in the house. I'm not. Okay, then you over-improve for the area.
But who told you? Who told you to do that?
So I over-improve for my area, but I'm okay with that because I love it.
You want to live there, and if you're going to live there, you improve it to however you want to.
John, you might have put 70. Let's just go there. You might have put 60, 70,000 into a kitchen. But maybe you're saving that money not by going out and eating every day, which is, restaurants, obviously, it costs a lot of money to go out and eat. So over time, ultimately, you might even be doing pretty good on that one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think over time, you're going to be doing good no matter what. Like you said, putting money into real estate is never a bad idea, right? Now, like I said, you can over-improve for an area, but
that's your choice. That's your lifestyle, right?
Right. And you should be smart about it. So if I'm going to put an addition on my house and it's going to cost me $150,000 to put 400 square feet on my house, I should be asking an appraiser or a realtor before I do it. Hey, what do you think? Do you think the value is going to be there after I do this? Noel will look at me and say, do not do something like that because it's dumb to put that much money in to just get 400 more square feet.
Yeah, but don't you do it for a lifestyle? Though you're going to be there. You do it for your lifestyle.
You make a choice based upon the information that's put in front of you.
That's right. Yeah, because you don't ever want to make decisions in regard to what you're doing with your home and improvements. One example I can give is just because everybody has countertops in their house. So say you want to get some new countertops and you got to get marble because you really like it or granite or whatever it is. and it's going to cost you $10,000. Well, whatever flavor you pick out might be your favorite flavor, but the person that comes in to buy the house, you think it just improved your house by who knows how much. They may actually discount your home because they don't like the flavor of the countertop you picked.
Exactly.
Right.
So everybody is different. You do improvements to your home based on how you live and your lifestyle and how you want to, live in that home, not based on, I'm going to get X or whatever out of it. Unless you're specifically going in and you're an investor to go in and clean up a house and turn around and sell it.
That's a
You're
flip.
not living there. It's completely different.
All right, we got open lines here, 248-539-9797. Let's go to Brian out in Westland. Good morning, Brian, and I love your question because I wrote it into the show today. Go ahead, Brian.
Good morning. How are we doing today?
Fantastic.
Well, thank you.
Fantastic. Your question is,
Great.
how do you get out of mortgage insurance?
Correct.
And you-
My wife and go ahead.
No, I was going to say, is it a conventional loan you have or an FHA? What do you have?
Harvey talks too much. Brian,
Conventional.
go ahead.
Okay, there you go.
It's
Conventional
a
loan, John.
conventional loan. 5 years ago, my wife and I bought a condo. She had a bit of credit card debt when we got married. Whatever, paid enough of it off in order to get this loan. But we got the loan, and I was under the impression that if you pay your loan, you do what you got to do. In 5 years, you can get away from that and get that off of your payment. It's a substantial amount of money that I would like to have in my pocket. Well, we've been paying for 5 years, and it's still there. And now I'm hearing that you have to have a certain amount of equity in your home.
That's
instead
correct.
of
Yep.
Or pay
Right.
that loan balance down low
Right.
enough, yeah.
First and foremost, the mortgage company is never going to just come out and say, "Hey, we're going to save you money and drop this MI." You have to initiate that phone call or initiate that process, right? They're a servicing company. They want money. They want the insurance on there because it protects them against any loss. Second, there's no drop dead time, right? 5 years is way. How much did you put down when you bought the house?
I believe 10%.
Okay, so 5 years is around the point where it should fall off. But once again, you're going to need to get with that mortgage company to instigate that process. What's your interest rate right now?
Pardon me?
What's your interest rate right now?
Oh, my God. You know what? I feel stupid for saying this. I just don't know.
Okay, well, I mean, 5
My
years.
wife,
I'll say
she's
probably like
just-
4.5 to 5%.
Yeah, 5
Probably
years.
right around
5 years ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago, it's better than it is now. So I would, if you gave us a call, my advice would say, well, no reason to refinance, right? Because you might be able to do this on your own. Call up your current servicer and say, hey, I want to get my mortgage insurance dropped. What do I need to do? They may make you pay for an appraisal to come out there and to see what the new value is. They may just look at the algorithm and say, you're right, you're already at 20% based upon the purchase price and what
Right.
you've been paying on. But now, when rates come down in 2025, it might be more beneficial for you to call us and say, hey, can we look at lowering the interest rate and also getting rid of the mortgage insurance if you can't get it off the other way? So there's a couple different options. I would start with your servicer if you're at 4 or 5% by just calling them and saying, hey, this is what I want to do. But they're not going to just reach out and say, hey, Brian, let's save you some money. They're just, that's just not the way the industry works.
They're not in the business to do that. I understand that. I'm just, I listened to the show, and I was really curious. You hit on another thing. Believe it or not, I have to go put smoke detectors. And my wife's sister passed away. Now I have another daughter. So
I'm
she's
sorry to hear
selling
that.
the condo. It's getting inspected. There's not a smoke detector in this condo.
Yeah.
I have to go put them in tomorrow.
Okay,
And
go
I
ahead.
mean, I heard you guys talking about it earlier, and I just started laughing
Yep.
because that became my job tomorrow. Is there a certain amount? Do you know just off the top of your head how many? I mean, I'm thinking one in the kitchen, one at the top of the steps, and then one in each bedroom.
No.
Is that about right?
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I don't know exactly. I wouldn't quote.
Right.
Look, you can never have too many of
Yeah,
them. You're supposed to be
exactly.
within. I just asked the
I mean,
appraiser on this week.
if it's an investment property,
Yeah.
I think you have to have one in each bedroom. If it's not, if it's primary, I think it's just one on each floor. And I would put in as many.
You want in high points, right?
Yeah.
Where smoke is going to filter to. So,
Right.
if you carry a candle around, like Harry used to do when he was reading in the old days.
Right. Right.
Still does.
So true.
You just see where the smoke is going towards what peaks of the house and put the detectors there.
Hey, Brian.
What I told her is the more the merrier when
Right.
it comes to smoke detectors.
I agree with that. And I also want to take a look at your current mortgage statement, and we can figure it out for you as to who you should call. But if you send us, and we'll send you a link, and we'll get you some phone numbers where you can go ahead and have a contact. We want to take a look at that mortgage statement, so maybe we can help you out.
Well, that would be
sooner.
great because I don't know a lot about it, and I would love to have somebody with your experience
Brian, and
your knowledge help me out through it.
Yeah, especially if you've been in that property for 5 years, and you put 10% down, man, you're going to be probably pleasantly surprised to see what kind of equity you have in there. I don't know where it is that you live and what it is, but
Westland condo community, beautiful,
awesome.
Right,
Brian, thanks for the call. Appreciate you, sir. Go get those smoke detectors. And again, anyone out there who's listening in, they usually remind us to tell people when you set the clocks back. Again, we got the fall back coming up soon.
It is a problem when I'm carrying the candle around the house to read off the parchment. It's very difficult to see it if you don't have the candle right against the parchment. You know that.
Well, and make sure your quill is sharp.
Craziness. I spill that ink all the time.
You guys, we're up against a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into something, what I call community. That's right. Buying a house, making money at it, that's one thing. How about a sense of community and feeling like you're involved and you're part of something bigger? I like that. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. The show in our last segment. We'll take your calls, 248-539-9797. You can talk sports, college football, mortgages, and real estate. That's what we like. 248 539-9797. Always lots to share with you. Hey, we brought the smoke detector thing because this time of year, twice a year, you want to go check those. Make sure you put some fresh batteries in there. If it's beeping nonstop, I don't know how you can live with that. Take a bat to it or something and then replace
You're
it.
taking to throw a book at it.
I mean, those things are not always easy to get to stop.
Then they'll replace the battery, and then it'll still beep. So
That's another issue. You got to reset it. All right.
That means it was a different one.
Right.
You replaced the wrong one.
Right. Probably replace it with an old battery.
I wrote mortgage insurance, believe it or not, into the show because there's been a lot of questions. I get some calls at the office nonstop talking about it. And on an FHA mortgage, you're going to have to refinance that. So FHA's MIP, mortgage insurance premium, you got a monthly and you've got an upfront MIP. Conventional loans, less than 20% down, John, of course, you know, have PMI, private mortgage insurance. And typically, when you get to the 20% equity, you can call up your current servicer if that makes more sense for you. You might need to do something else. You might need a professional to say, look, don't do that. Do a cash out refund. There's different things you need to do. But a lot of times, after 5 years, if you started at 10% equity, you only need to establish another 10%. You can probably call your servicer up and get that handled. All right, we handled some mortgage insurance conversation.
Before we go to the calls, sorry, we got a couple calls waiting on the line. Before we go to the calls, it's only about saving money.
Yeah. Right.
If we're going to save you money, you should do it. If it's not saving you money, you shouldn't do it.
Well, what you should do is call me, and I can do a little research on your home, and I can let you know if you're around that percentage or not by doing a simple search for you.
It's pretty easy to do, and we can save people money. We've been doing it for a long time, saving hundreds of thousands of families, millions of dollars over the years. So it's what we do, and we like to do it, and it doesn't cost you anything to inquire about it. Nope. So why not make the free call?
Cost you a phone call.
Yeah.
Hey, look, buying a home is a significant milestone in anyone's life. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. We deal with it every day. We still get a lot of emails and stuff. So definitely, you want to call the professionals and get more opinions and more professional opinions. I see a lot of people are brand new. I saw one guy said they were the number one lender or something in the country. You can tell by their NMLS number that they're brand new. So there's a lot of BS going on out there, Harry.
Information, listen, I believe in accurate information.
This just in.
Yeah, the dissemination of accurate versus inaccurate information. And just because somebody tells you something doesn't mean it's true. I mean, why let facts get in the way of a great story, right? So, no, you have to check it out. And when somebody tells you that they could get a 5 3/4 or a 6% interest rate out there, it's not true. You have to check it out. So you have to do the due diligence. You have to go ahead. And when somebody tells you something, you have to go ahead and you have to back it up. But you can only back it up with people that know what they're doing, that have been around a long time to verify that information. And I can't tell you the number of stories and conversations that I get in when I hear just false statements. And false statements. I'm not the type of person that's going to let somebody get away with it. Just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true. So you got to really check it out. And everybody right now, 'tis the season. You're going to get crazy email, crazy letters. You're going to see commercials on television that are going to tell you that the rates are this, the rates are that. They're not. They're not there. It's costing you something. There's a cost to everything in life, right?
Harry, let's just go there and say home buying process can be complex. It's very complex, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. If you get more professional people to educate yourself on this stuff, like, I don't know, I get a lot. I've been getting a lot of emails, and then I don't hear from the people again. So let's talk about the basics real quick, John.
Everybody has a friend, a brother, sister, a consultant that thinks they know what's going on in the market. It's not.
Some of the basics, John, are definitely, credit. Let's just start off there as we wrap up the show here. We talk a little bit about first-time home buyers, even families that are going to be buying again. It's very important that your credit score, you can max it out. Make your credit score as high as possible and address that right away.
I say address it before you're even starting to look, because you never know what's going to be on your credit report. I mean, I've had friends call me up with an $84 collection on there. It's causing their score to drop from 780 down to 720 for $84. Well, it's the principal. I don't want to pay it. Okay, I understand. And I am a principal guy. But here's the real of the story. If you don't pay this and we don't get your score up to 780, here's where the ramifications. You're either paying more in closing costs or a higher interest rate. You choose. Or we could just pay $84 off.
Just pay it off and get it handled.
So but do that on the front end. Don't wait until you already have a house in mind, because credit's not going to rebound overnight. It's not going to rebound in 2 weeks, a month. Sometimes it takes 60 days, 90 days to rebound. So let's take a look first. If you call me for a pre-approval and ask me about stuff and your credit's 750, and then 90 days later you need another pre-approval, I'm not re-pulling credit. right? I'm going to ask you the questions. Do you have the same job? Are we putting the same amount of money down? Is the credit been the same?
Has anything materially changed
Correct.
in your world in the last 60 to 90 days?
It's frivolous to keep pulling credit. All I'm doing is doing a disservice to you. So as long as we're staying status quo, we'll keep you in the loop. But when you do find something down the road and we have to put an application together, yes, new credit needs to be pulled.
Harry, let's talk about funds to close. Obviously, very important. How are you? Where's the money coming from? If someone's giving you cash money under their mattress, that's going to be an issue. Funds to close.
Well, you do the transaction backwards. Noel sells a house for $200,000. They're putting $40,000 down. That's a $160,000 mortgage. Where are you getting the $40,000 from? Okay, we need to verify that. So if you're pulling it from 2 or 3 accounts, we need to see 2 months of 2 or 3 account statements. If you're getting large deposits, if somebody gave you a gift, if all of a sudden you got a raise, we need to verify all that. So funds to close is the single most important item, characteristic of a purchase transaction. We do it backwards. So we have to see the money. We want to verify where the money's coming from, and then we go ahead and we process it. That's the easy part. But so many times, Noel, people don't tell us that they're moving money around or they're getting a gift or it's coming from mattress money.
Or how about the sale of their house if they're thinking about that? If you were thinking about selling your house, you might need a bridge loan. So there's all these different opportunities out there. No, I'm not sure what you're coming across recently. On the buyer side, tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, it ties into, you've got to know no one's an expert unless you're an expert. And, there's reasons why people do things for a living because they do it for a living. So relying on the experts and like you guys, I don't know how many people I send to John, and knowledge is power in regard to knowing what your abilities are. And like John said, something as easy as paying off an $84 credit card, whatever it is. Think about how much that could cost you in the future if you don't. With the change in, your credit score, which affects obviously a lot of things that you guys deal with in regard to what your final numbers are. And that can be dramatically different. So yeah, going and getting those things looked at, whatever, your financial situation is, get yourself in the best position you can get.
Listen, we want to save people money. I would love rates to go down tremendously. We do more loans when rates are lower, not when rates are higher. Everybody has this misnomer that we want rates to be high. Absolutely not. I want to do more loans. I want rates to be lower. I want to charge people less in cost.
Right.
It's more in cost if your credit score is higher. Okay, I want to go ahead and I want to give people credit. I want to write them checks back. I want them to save money. I don't want them to spend money.
Show me one person that is disappointed if they're saving money.
Right.
And there's a big push right now to get the credit score requirements, the fees associated, down. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are charging way too much and pushing a lot of that on higher credit score individuals when they're trying to put less down on a purchase. So there's a big push by the Mortgage Bankers Association and everybody to try to get some of those fees knocked down. And like Harry said, we want less fees. We want lower rates so that we can save people money.
John, let's talk about it, though. Debt consolidation, definitely out there. The economy's been a little rougher. The cost of goods, again, your home's going up in value. Everything else is going up, too. Just to get anything done at the house, you want to put a new door on, anything, cost of goods has gone up. Debt consolidation, talk about it real quick.
It's a no-brainer. I just took a client, a very good client of mine that has been around a long, long time, her and her husband. I took them from a 4.5% interest rate, unfortunately, to a 6.75 on a new 30-year fixed. But we saved them $1,300 a month.
That's huge.
Huge.
Right.
Huge.
And then they're able now. So when the refi boom comes, when this refi boom does come, maybe 2025, then they can take that 30-year fix. Maybe they can drop it to a 20-year. Now really get ahead of themselves.
Or just pay extra. Pay extra if you want. Okay. If you are so comfortable at $1,300 a month more per month, then take $600-$700 of that, put it towards the mortgage to buy it back down. The $50,000 that we took out, buy it back down, and put the other $600-$700 into a savings account for your kids. For college, I don't, whatever, but do something better with your money than throwing it away at interest on credit
cards. The rate
is
immaterial if you have $1,300 a month in credit card debt. It's absolutely 100%. Immaterial. It doesn't make sense. Just because you can tell your next door neighbor you got 4.5% rate, you're not telling them that you have $1,300 in credit card debt.
Right.
So it's the math. It's only about the math, and it's only about what you're laying out every single month, cash flow, to what we can save you. Yeah. So I don't know. I saw an interesting meme. You guys will like this on Instagram, all right? and you talk about home improvements and the time and the effort and energy it's taking. You can't get somebody out there to do your house. It took a year to build the Empire State Building, allegedly.
1 year. No, it did.
Wait. So it took a year to build the Empire State Building. Why is it taking 2 years to do my kitchen?
It's so funny. I keep reading that.
John, or 96. How am I going to go to my Michigan State games?
Right. Why does it take? Here we are.
It took them 1 year to build the Empire State Building. It's great. I love that.
Whatever the year was.
No resources. No cranes. Right. No heavy cranes or any of that.
Build the Empire State Building. Taking 2 years to do a kitchen. Now everybody out there, you're driving your car. You have to laugh at that. That's funny. All right, that's great.
You know who doesn't think it's funny? Randy.
No, people are having trouble finding houses. We got only a minute left here.
Call me.
Days on the market has gone up. Suggest to your real estate agent, hey, this one's been on the market a little bit longer. Why has it been on the market a little bit longer? And maybe that's the house you can negotiate with.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you know what? You do your due diligence. You dig into it. And if you find a home that's been on the market for a little, there's a lot of different reasons why. That things do and don't sell. Markets slow down, blah, 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 blah. You don't know until you go and you investigate. It's the same thing with mortgages. Go check it out.
You don't know till you don't know.
You don't know until you don't know and you don't ask.
It's over, everybody. It's over.
Hey, that's it. 248-539-9797 for the sports show that's coming up next. That's right. Pat Caputo, Mark Ryan. They've got it here. We got tons of sports coming up. Lions tomorrow.
Huge weekend.
All right. Call Capital Mortgage Funding if you want to find us at 1-800-LOW-RATE.
Go Blue.
That's 1-800-569-7283. Again, if you're looking for experienced mortgage information, call Capital Mortgage Funding. We will see you next Saturday. Keep it here at 97.1 The Ticket.